Mark, good to see you. This video is for anyone who wants to retire in 2025. We
Mhm.
have 5 money moves that you need to make first. Retirement planning usually takes place over decades. Checking in with yourself throughout the planning process can keep you on track, but you really need to give your finances a cold, hard look before you tell the boss goodbye. So let's get through those 5 money moves. First, you need to decide when to claim Social Security.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is often overlooked because you get a statement. You can go online, create your account, you can pull up a statement, and it gives you a value. Oh, my monthly amount is X. But there's so many considerations. Are you married? Is there an age difference? Are there difference in your benefit amounts? So mathematically, there is a computation that you can go through to determine how to maximize that cash flow. But it's also going to be dependent on what age you retire, what is your income need, what are the other assets that you have, and obviously tax considerations. But here's the question that nobody really addresses. Regardless of when you decide to take it, you have to understand what you're giving up. And that's one of the things that we specialize in is Social Security planning because it's such an important cash flow.
One of the most important decisions you'll make in retirement. Absolutely.
Yep.
Next, determine whether you have adequate savings. But this, of course, can get overwhelming. Where do we start?
Yeah, so I think where you have to start is really kind of backing into the equation, but really getting a good understanding of what your income need is going to be in retirement. But then what we need to do is back into it and say, okay, yeah, when are we going to take Social Security? If we have pensions or guaranteed incomes, how do we account? We account for that, determine what your income gap is, and that's what you're going to be drawing from your other assets, your 401ks, IRAs, or taxable brokerage accounts. But ultimately, it's what I call is creating a retirement income projection or a stress test of that retirement, because we go, look, if we have longevity in retirement, are these, based on how we have it allocated, are these assets going to last throughout our retirement? Because the number one concern of retirees is running out of money before they run out of time. So that's what we want to stress test. Now, if it doesn't work, what we can make some adjustments now so that those things don't happen, and then really understanding what the threats are to your retirement and how do we mitigate those things.
Next, we need to decide on a withdrawal strategy. Of course, most of us have heard of the 4% rule before, but I've also heard that you should tap your money in a specific order: taxable, tax deferred, and then tax free. What do we need to keep in mind?
Well, yeah, it's interesting here again. A lot of times the answer is it depends. Now, the 4% rule, it can work, but again, it was based on 90s research, and a lot of people in our industry today say, well, it's not really a 4%, it should be 3%. But there's a lot of other things that we need to take into account. And then, yeah, you're right. We could say, yeah, it's as easy as tap the taxable, tax deferred, et cetera. But again, we have to look at where tax rates are, where we think they're going. And that's going to really dictate which accounts we draw down first. Because if we're doing Roth conversions, obviously we're moving more to the tax-free. And yeah, we may be using the taxable bucket to pay for those conversions. Or maybe we're not. And if we believe tax rates are going to go up, why not take tax deferred now when tax rates are low? So bottom line is there's a tremendous amount of considerations that we need to take into effect.
Mhm. Next, schedule check-ins. Review your finances before and throughout your retirement, especially in those first few years. But how often do you think retirees are doing this? And how often do you think they're surprised by what they're spending?
Well, my doing this for 30 years, I can tell you they're not doing it as much as they should.
Mhm.
As well, I think most people are probably spending a lot more than they think. So having a plan and a process is imperative. But yeah, once we put the plan in place, we have to revisit, we have to re-stress test. Because again, this is the business of your retirement. And if you think about it, if you're running a business and you don't take regular inventory, you're liable to fail. So the same thing applies here. It's making sure that our plan is on track to meet our goals and objectives, regardless of what all these other circumstances are around us that we can't control are
Mhm.
happening. So
Mhm.
if we do those things and do those check-ins, and I would say at least an annual plan update once a year, Obviously, checking in every 6 months is probably a good rule of thumb.
Mm-hmm. And then last and perhaps most important, consult an advisor who can tell you whether you are on track to retire in 2025.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we have a lot of clients come to us that have an advisor and they want a second opinion. That's always a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And I know Vanguard has done multitudes of research of what a good advisor, how much value it can add, how much return it can add to your portfolios, and how much more longevity it can give to your portfolios if you use the proper advisor.
Really important conversation to have. So if somebody is thinking about retiring soon, this year or the next 5, Mark, and they want to talk it through with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, they can just pick up the phone, give us a call, schedule an appointment. Our phone number is 303-681-0113. Or they can go to our website. They can check out the resources we have on the website, but also they can go to my calendar, and they can easily schedule an appointment and coordinate that with their calendar.
Great. Mark, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Erin.